Hey everyone, Jason here, and today we are taking a look at the 2021 remake of Heroquest by Hasbro and Avalon Hill. So when they announced this on Kickstarter back in 2020, I was thrilled that they were bringing back one of the most nostalgic and iconic board games I think of anyone of my generation. If you were into board games when you were younger, back in the 90s, then HeroQuest was probably one of your top games. It's taken me a while to get hold of this, not through any difficulty, but just funds and other things. But not only am I going to be looking at the core game here today, but in future, over the coming months, we are going to be looking at some of the other expansions that have released, and hopefully I'll be making some more content based around HeroQuest, such as painting videos, tutorials, playthroughs and reviews of each of the expansions. So first off, let's take a look at the contents of the board, of the game itself. So much like the original, we get the board itself, if I can open this up and get it on camera, but we get the board, which is a nice fold out board. It is larger than the original. The other one was much more square in shape and featured 1-inch tiles. This one I believe features 1.2-inch squares, I say tiles, squares on the board itself. It is made of, I believe, 5mm cardstock and is just a great board. So we keep half of it out here. So you can see each of these squares, I believe, are 1.25mm, whereas the originals were 1mm. So those of you who haven't played before or haven't seen this before, though I'm sure by now most of you have, it is a game where one player plays as the games master, Zargon in the United States, or Morcar in the UK, although in this version I believe it is just Zargon. This version is the same through both. And players play as one of 4 characters: the barbarian, the elf, the dwarf and the wizard. Those sort of stereotypical RPG fantasy hero archetypes. Although I don't know why they call him an elf and not a ranger, and a dwarf and not a dwarf fighter or something, because you've got a barbarian which is a human and the wizard which is a human, but they call them by the names. Anyway, they named them the same as they did before. So, and anyway, the objective of the game is for players to move around the board using dice rolls and whatever else, and investigate the rooms. The board layout, as you saw, or as you can see in this image here, is a pre-designed board, but not all of these rooms are usable. Each quest or each mission that the players go on, from the quest book here, so we can see here in the quest book, only the game master Zargon has access to this, and it tells him what rooms are in use and where the creatures and furniture elements and that are in each room. The players aren't aware of this. They learn by moving around the board, and as they explore, they'll see doors which open into rooms, or they'll see a certain specific tile that represents rubble and a collapsed tunnel and they can't go that way. So parts of the board are shut off and other parts are open for exploration. And this does change between missions, or between quests, adventures in the quest book. So that is basically the premise of the game. They go in to a dungeon, they explore it, they fight monsters, and they look for treasure, loot and stuff, and then they'll escape or leave the dungeon, and you play over the series of a number of quests. I believe it is 11 or 12 or 13, 14 in the core book, and then each expansion has a number of its own quests. The box also includes obviously a rule book with some nice art on the back. I do like the art in this. It's an updated version of the original art. Obviously a new artist and slightly more modernized, but yeah, the artwork for these are great. So the rules are fairly simple. I'm not going to go through them, however I will be doing gameplay videos, so you will be able to learn the rules as I play. But yeah, the rules are fairly simple. You also get, and I have opened this and played it a little bit, but you also get a number of tokens. Now these are on, I think, 2mm or 3mm cardstock, and these will come on a large piece, and you punch them out, or you pop them out. I've put them in a Ziploc bag here just so I don't lose them, but you can do whatever you want with them. The Dungeon Master, or the Games Master, as it is officially called, has a screen that he has everything behind. He can put his monsters behind here. He will have the quest book and various other things, and the back of it does show him things like the attack dice, how much the monsters can move, their health, and all little things that he'll need to know for the monsters. It is different compared to the original one. It is smaller, and I believe the original had a completely different layout on here. I think it was more based on the rules of what players can do on a turn and treasure searching and things like that, but still quite helpful. So those are the sort of the top contents that you will get when you open this. And then inside we have two large trays. So each tray comes in this nice sleeve, and within the sleeve you get a tray of monsters. There are also included 6 white dice, and these are used for combat, with a shield representing a save, a skull representing, I believe it is a hit, and a black shield is a miss for the players or a save for the enemies. I think it's been a few months since I played, but yeah, I think that's how it goes. And then we have 2 red d6. I'll just get the one out here. 2 red d6, which are used for player movement. Okay, so taking a look at the miniatures here. First of all, we have the dwarf. Now, these miniatures do not come grey. They come in this red plastic. I have primed these ready for painting. I do really like these miniatures. Incredible detail on them. Can't get too much of a zoom on there. See if we can zoom in without losing focus a little bit. But yeah, we got some incredible details on these. They do have, we can see here on the axe, some mold line issues, and it is a flexible, fairly flexible plastic. Don't bend it too hard, you will break it a little bit. But due to the type of plastic it is, removing these mold lines isn't as easy as some of the harder plastics, but it's not too bad. So that's the dwarf. Then we have the wizard with his magical staff there. Again, I have primed this ready for painting. Next up we have the barbarian. Again, very nice sculpted model this. I believe he is posed very similar to the original, sort of, a little bit of a nod to the original sculpts, but he is different to them. I believe the other one was stood straight-legged. And then here is the elf. Now, in the original, all characters were male. In this version, the dwarf, I think, is male. I'm not entirely sure. The barbarian and the wizard are both male, and the elf is female. And with the Kickstarter, they did do an alternative sculpt version where the genders were flipped. So the Kickstarter, you got these 4, and then you got the 4 again, but with the alternative genders. So yeah, again, great sculpts. You can see here, you know, it's this flexible plastic. Makes it great for if you accidentally drop or step on one, they don't break so easy. But like I say, removing mold lines is a little bit tricky. But apart from that, you know, they are great casts, great sculpts, and I can't wait to get painting them for you guys. Next up, we have the Orcs, and in the core set, you get, I believe it is 4 of the male orcs, so 4 of these guys and 4 of the female, and I believe they are 2 different poses each. So we've got the other one out here. Zoom back out a bit. So we've got the one with the big thick, what looks like a great sword or something, and then the other one with an axe, and you get 2 of each of these. And then the females, you get one with the sword and one with this, it looks like a 2-handed mace. So yeah, these are the 2 females. The originals, again, were all male only. Every miniature in the box set was male only. But Avalon Hill decided to go a bit, you know, gender fair and make 2 of each. Next up, we have goblins, and again, the original featured males only. This time we have females and males. So here we have the female sculpt. If we can get this, I don't know if it's going to zoom or focus. So we've got the female there. Again, sorry for the poor camera, but it is what it is. And you can see we get a bit of mold lining on the basing, and these obviously haven't been primed. And then we got the male here. I believe we get 2 of the females in this sculpt, 2 of the males in this sculpt, and then 2 more males in this sculpt. So a total of 6 goblins. That's 4 males and 2 females. Next, we have some mummies. We get 2 of these in this set. Completely different pose to the originals. I'm not super keen on these. They look like they're doing the Egyptian dance. But yeah, the sculpts themselves are okay. The details, you know, detailing is nice. But I'm not entirely sure on the pose on these ones. We also get 2 zombies, and again, these are different to the originals, sculpt wise. The originals had some sort of big cleaver that they were holding on to, that sort of came across here and down here. These ones, they've given them a sword and shield, and again, it's all that same flexible plastic. The sculpts, the detailing on these, I can't get a focus, but the detailing on these is nice. It doesn't help that it's white plastic for these. It makes, with the light that I've got, a little bit hard to see some of the details, but we'll work with that, and you'll be able to see it better in the painting videos. After that, we get 4 of these guys, the skeletons, and these have these great big reaper blades, which they did in the original, but again, they were a different pose. I think it came up and across their head, or it came down and they were scything, I cannot remember. But yeah, I actually like these skeletons with these size. So again, we get 4 of these, and obviously there aren't different genders because, you know, a skeleton is a skeleton. Okay, then we have 4 of these guys, the Dread Knights. Now in the original, these were known, oh, he's a little bit bent now, I think. Let's have a look at another one, see if they're supposed to be that shape. So yeah, he's looking a bit bent backwards, maybe. That's fine. But yeah, so these are called Dread Knights, and in the original, they were, I believe, they were Chaos Warriors, which, as most of you will know, or some of you will know, is a Games Workshop IP. So they had to change the name to Dread Knights, which I believe was actually referenced in the description of the Chaos Warriors in the original game. They did mention them as Dread Knights, so they obviously kept that. But again, great sculpts. These are some nice big tough bad guys, you know, some texture and stuff on the cloaks there. But again, we do get these mold lines down parts of the models, which are a little bit difficult to remove. And then after that, we get these. Now, in the originals, we got, I believe they were called Femmes or Femmes. They were a Games Workshop IP. Again, they are discontinued now. Games Workshop don't make them, but obviously they still own the IP. And because Games Workshop have nothing to do with this reincarnation of the game, they had to come up with something different. So they've come up with these abominations, and that's not me being mean, that is what they are called. They are abominations. They are giant fish folk with this sort of half trident weapon. Not bad sculpts, you know, they don't look too bad. I actually like the look of them. If you play Dungeons and Dragons, which is one of the reasons that I bought this, is you can use all the minis from this as monsters from Dungeons and Dragons, with this one representing fish folk, or you know, something along that line in those adventures. But yeah, not a bad sculpt on that one. Then we have one of the big baddies, the gargoyle. I don't mind this gargoyle, I like him. I think the original one, instead of 2 melee weapons, he actually had a whip that curled round, and I wish they'd kept the whip. And he was, if memory serves, he was a little bit bigger and sort of more menacing looking. But yeah, still not a bad sculpt. Yeah, I like it. And obviously we'll be painting all of these up. And then finally in here we get the, I think he's called an evil mage or something like that, but yeah, he's an evil wizard, possibly the necromancer. I can't remember what they call him, but yeah. So we got this guy here, which is pretty cool. You fight obviously these 2 main guys. They'll be towards the latter half of the quest book. I think I haven't played through all of the quest yet, so don't quote me on that. But again, great sculpts. Not too many mold lines to remove on this one, which is nice. And again, I can't wait to get painting them. So yeah, that's the minis. Like I say, there's quite a collection here. You're not super overloaded with them, but yeah, you get a few, you know, a few to play with. There are enough miniatures, I think, in the game to be able to use and not run out of in the dungeon. However, there are rules that state if you do not have the mini, you simply do not play the monster. So either way, it, you know, wouldn't be too bad. You still get enough miniatures. So we're just going to put these aside, dump them on the box, and then we can have a look at the second set of contents from the game. So the second tray of contents, first of all, comes with these. And these are your character sheets, so you get a whole nice block of them, and there are ones available for printing offline. printing off online. But basically this is how you track your quests. So you've got all your quests here, you just circle each one as you play it or complete it. Any gold coins, potions and other items tracking, because you use this sheet between quests. So you have one for your character, and every time you play a new quest, yeah, you use the same character. So you can track his body points here, you put his details, his attack dice, defend dice. You erase obviously what you put, because it does change as you collect different equipment or you buy equipment between quests to upgrade your character. We also have a nice deck of cards. Now I'm not going to try and get them. Can we get them all out? You can get most of them out. So let's have a look at the cards. So here we have a character card. I'm not sure exactly what order they are in, because obviously I've been playing it a little bit. I think we've got different characters with different, I think they've got their equipment and spells and stuff in there. But these cards, they are a nice glossy card, not too thick, you know, your standard sort of playing card kind thickness. And on each card you get obviously character art, the name of the character and his basic stats. So obviously this is what he starts off at, and this is what you would put on your character sheet. And then as you advance and you buy more equipment, you will change these on the character sheet. But yeah, they are great. You know, they've got this little thing on the back. So for the dwarf, for example, you are the dwarf. You are a good warrior and have the unique ability to disarm traps without a toolkit. To do so, you must avoid rolling a black shield on a combat dice. So there you go. So that's how you play the dwarf. And all of the characters, if we can find another card, we've got another character here. This is the barbarian. So you can see here the barbarians got a different one. So, but beware of magic, for your sword is no defense against it. So the barbarian isn't too great at magic, which is what I think the mind is. If you are suffering a magic attack, it deducts from your mind. A physical attack deducts from your body. Then we get some treasure cards. Do we have things here? So we got treasure cards. You get a whole number of these. Things such as, oh, we've got a wandering monster there. We draw another one out. We've got some jewels. So as you explore the rooms, if there's chests and things like that in the room, you'll draw a card. And depending on what the card is, determines on what happens in that room. So you've got gold, you've got jewels, we've got wandering monsters. So this is where you will place extra monsters. I think so. Zargon places the wandering monster listed in the quest book on any square next to you. The monster attacks immediately. So not a card you want to draw, really. Then we get things. These cards. So these are spell cards. There are 4 groups: earth, air, fire and water. So we've got fire, earth, water and air. 3 of each. And basically you use these during the game and apply their effects from each card. Other than that, I think, yep, we get equipment cards. Let's have a look, see if we can separate these a little bit. Here we've got 4 cards. You get 4 of these. They just tell you what you can do on your turn. Nice little reminder card to have out for each player. And we get artifact cards as well. And the monsters also get their own spells, or Zargon gets his own spells for use at specific times and only on specific quests. So let's take a look at these. So we've got Ball of Flame, Cloud of Dread, Command, Escape, Fear, Firestorm, Lightning Bolt, Rust, Sleep, Summon Orcs, Summon Undead and Tempest. So a whole bunch of spells and stuff that the Game Master Zargon can call. We have Equipment card, and this you store with your character once you buy the equipment or if you find it. Certain equipment such as the what is it, the staff here. So the wooden staff, this long sturdy wooden staff gives you the attack strength of 1 combat dice. Because of its length, the staff enables you to attack diagonally. You may not use a shield when using this weapon. So obviously if you've got a barbarian, you're not really going to matter too much, but the dwarf isn't going to want it. And I believe the staff is what the wizard starts out with. Some of your characters will start out with some of these. For example, the shield is for the dwarf. He'll start with that. Some of them, such as the shield, you'll note here, may not be used by the wizard. So certain cards can't be used by certain characters. And we've got like a whole variety of different weapons and armor and stuff here that you can find, collect on your journey, or you can buy them between adventures. And obviously each one has a gold amount on it. And then we have artifacts. Artifacts, I can't remember how you play. I think again you find artifacts. They are sort of more specialist kind of equipment, sort of a bit more rare. And obviously your heroes will equip these. So we've got like Borin's armor, a phantom blade, a number of different blade ones, a ring of fortitude, and talisman of lore. And I believe that is it. I think there are monster cards somewhere around, maybe. Yes. So these ones are the monster cards. So here Zargon obviously has access to the cards that he's going to be using for the monsters, and these are printed on the inside of the screen anyway. What I am going to be doing for future content, so if you guys are enjoying this video and do want to see more content based on Heroquest as well as other games, I will ask you now to kindly hit the like button and hit that subscribe button, because I am going to be doing painting videos where I paint each model based on the card art. So in, you know, as close a colour scheme as I can, I will be doing each of the card art for the monsters, including things like the red paint details and stuff on them. So if you are wanting to see that, then stay tuned. That goes for the heroes as well. I'll be painting the heroes the same, and hopefully this will become a series where I paint every model, or one of each model, from each of the core sets, or from the core sets and each of the expansions, for you guys to follow along and paint your characters like the card art. So what else do we have in the box? Doors. We have quite a few doors. 5 open ones, closed ones, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 open ones. So obviously as you explore, you will look down a corridor and you'll see a closed door. As part of your movement, you can go to a door, open it and move through, or you can decide to end your movement and then you replace it with this one, which is why you get more of these. Again, these are plastic. Now in the original, all of the content that came, you know, the doors and the furniture and stuff, was all cardboard with some slight plastic. For example, the bases for the doors were plastic, but the door itself and the door frames were card, which obviously kept costs down, but wasn't great when you'd bend a card, or, you know, over time they get damaged from use. So I really like the idea of the plastic stuff in these, and obviously it's great for a painter like me to enjoy painting up. Next up we get 2 bookcases. If we can see these, get some better light on them. See if we can put this light on. So yeah, there we go. So we've got a couple of bookcases. Is that upside down? That is upside down. There we go. Books aren't floating now. So yeah, I love the details on these. We've got a little skull in here, as well as obviously a stack of books. And the original ones, this part was actually card, sort of like a card piece that you would fold around at the corners, and the top and bottom were plastic that you would slot onto the card. And they actually came with a couple of holes on top to place rats and skulls that you got with it, plastic rats and skulls with little pegs on them. And these ones, they haven't put any holes in, so yeah, we can't attach or peg anything into these, but we will take a look at them. So here we have the skulls and rats, I think. Or are they skulls? They are skulls. Do we get any rats? Because we get 3 of these, and no, they are all the same. So we get 2 skulls, 3 skulls, and not sure what that last one is. It might be a spider, but yeah, we get 3 of these and they are all identical. And then obviously you will twist them off and glue them, so you will have to glue them or paint them. The only other problem with gluing or painting these on top of the bookcases and the cupboard here, or the wardrobe, is the way that they fit into the packaging. They fit into the packaging tight, so if you have one of these glued on top, the packaging is not going to fit because it's going to jam up against that and knock it off. So you're going to be placing that and then balancing these pieces on. I think a lot of you may end up saying, nope, sod that, I'm not balancing little bits on and having it knock, you know, a little knock like that, and having to stand it up and rebalance. You're just not going to have the thing, or you will have to find another way of storing your pieces once you have glued these on. So yeah, that's the cupboard. I think the original one was actually taller. This part was slightly thinner, and the doors in this one, they look very sort of squat. In the original they were same width, but they looked a little bit taller. Then we have the fireplace, and this is cool. I'm going to love painting the flame effect on this. I think I'll even try and get sort of a glow effect around here. The furniture I'm not planning on doing as tutorials unless you guys want me to. If you do, let me know and I will make sure to paint these up. So let me know down in the comments if you are wanting to see these be painted up as well, and I will make sure to save them for some painting videos. Then we have in here a tomb. Now the original tomb, this was cardboard, and then this was a plastic piece that obviously you slotted into. On this one it's all plastic, and the lid comes off, so you can hide something in there. I'm not sure what. You can maybe store these pieces in there once you've clipped them off. But yeah, we've got a nice little sarcophagus tomb type thing there with a knight on top. Then we do have rats. So we've got 4 of these guys. They are their own separate little thing, but these are pretty cool. Some nice little rats. I might even use these for D&D to represent giant rats, and place them on a 20mm base or a 25mm base and get 4 giant rats. Then that would be pretty cool. Like I said, all of the stuff for this is great for using in games of D&D and other RPGs, fantasy RPGs. We get 3 of these treasure chests, so obviously these go in rooms that tell you when to put them in rooms, and they'll be in specific rooms on specific adventures, and the adventurers, the players, can search them and then they'll draw a treasure card to see what they get inside. We also have I think it's the apothecary table, maybe, or that was a different one. I think this is it. But yeah, so we got a bunch of potions on here. We got some measuring scales, got an ink pot and quill, and looks like a little jewelry piece there. I like the paper sheets, and yeah, very nice looking table there. We also get the armory piece, or the weapon stand with a couple of shields. Now this, I believe the original was plastic as well. I may be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was plastic. And this is pretty much the same. Obviously it's all new sculpt, so the weapon's going to be slightly different. But yeah, it's a little bit warped, I think. But it is that flexible plastic. So if any of pieces you get are warped, just put it in some hot water for a minute or so, take it out, straighten it how you need it, and then hold it there and dunk it into some ice water. Hold it in the ice water for 30 seconds or so, and that will set it back in place and keep it nice and straight. Then we get 2 of these, just some tables and a single throne. So a couple of tables, no chairs, and we get this nice little throne. You also get a torture rack. Looks a little bit wonky. Not sure if that's intentional, but yeah, we've got a torture rack that we can chain somebody up and stretch them out. Got a hand in there. And then if we can get focus, this detailing around the side is like a sort of stony granite kind of looking thing. And then the final piece in this set, and towards the end of the video, is this, I'm not sure what it's called, but some sort of summoner's table or wizard's table. It's got the couple of drawers in there, spell book of some kind, and a couple of candlesticks. Now, I think the original one, again, this was card, this was plastic, and the candlesticks were the 3 thingy type, and they were a bit more brittle, and the candlesticks tended to snap off. But again, with this being this nice flexible plastic, you do get a little bit of warping, but the plastic itself is nice and breaks safe for the most part. So yeah, that has been the game there, guys. So I love the quality of the components. The detailing on them is great. The plastic is nice and flexible, so you're not going to break it. The drawback on that is removing mold lines is a little bit more tricky. But yeah, it's a great game. I have played through the first dungeon with my son. He liked it. He actually liked the game. My other 2 kids, not so keen on it. Not too interested, but that's kids these days with video games. But me personally, I love the nostalgia of it. Looking at all these pieces just brings back memories of childhood, sitting down playing the game with my dad and brother, and the great adventures that we had. So yeah, that is the end of the video, guys. Thank you ever so much for joining me. If you have enjoyed the video, then please hit that thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing. I did take a little bit of a hiatus due to various circumstances, depression being one of them, and lack of motivation because of the lack of growth on the channel. I am trying to get it to grow this year. The goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers, preferably by July, and then 1,500 by the end of the year. So please, guys, hit that subscribe button and help the channel grow. But until next time, guys, this is Jason clocking off, and as always, and until next time, take it easy and keep painting those minis.